Welcome to the Terrible Podcast with your hosts from SteelersDepot.com, where you can find all your latest and greatest Steelers news. It's Dave Bryan and Alex Kozora, always lit, talking Steelers. And now, here's Dave and Alex.
Welcome to the Terrible Podcast, another special edition of the Terrible Podcast, Pittsburgh Steelers Training Camp 2019. It is Monday. It is July 29th. It is 6:30 out here on the West Coast, the best coast, Las Vegas, and it is 9:30 just outside of Pittsburgh, where my partner in crime and co-host Alex Kozora is. Alex, 4 days in a row. Happy Monday. You get a day off. Well, not really get a day off, but you get a day off from driving to Latrobe and sitting out there in that heat. So, A, how are you? And B, how was your day?
Good day, as always. Hot one, though. Really warm. Even Tomlin talked about it in his presser. But, yeah, you got the off day today. Then you have 5 in a row from Wednesday to Sunday. And that'll have the Friday Night Lights and the Family Fest practice. So if you thought the first 4 days were bad for these guys, next 5 are going to be even more difficult.
Absolutely. So we'll go, that's kind of rare to have the 5. I'm trying to remember if it's rare to have that 5-day stretch right there in the second kind of grouping. Seems like in the past it's been like 3 days and then a break and then a long stretch. But boy, he's going to get his money's worth out of him here in this first 10 days, isn't he?
Yeah, these guys are putting the work. It's been hot, muggy, sun every single day. Been good weather. I mean, no rain, and that's always nice. And maybe Tomlin would like to see one rain day to let those guys perform in that. But yeah, these guys have been battle tested. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I got a couple of questions kind of concerning that we'll say towards the end of this podcast, but I suppose we should start with a little bit of housekeeping here. Can you believe we haven't had a transaction?
Yeah.
I mean,
knock on wood.
In forever too. In fact, I guess the last technically the last transaction was the signing of Justin Lane, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Like the 3rd or 4th of June. I mean, that's the last time that the salary cap number even moved as well, too. So, I mean, it's been that long. To go that long without a transaction is it's just mesmerizing. Really, it is. So, unfortunately, though, the injury report's starting to grow a little bit day by day, and that of course is going to come with the nature of these practices, and as you get some gone, some hopefully will come back and all. But right now the injury, the popular injury seems to be the old dislocated finger, Alex. And during today's session on a deep ball, I'm guessing down towards the middle of the field. It was I guess initially broken up by Artie Burns and then intercepted by Cameron Kelly. Well, during kind of that, I guess, going up for the football there, maybe you can tell me if I'm right or not, is when Dante Moncrief jammed and really dislocated. It looks like I like to call it the birdie finger, the birdie finger on his left hand there. So he went with medical assistant up, had that thing looked at. He came back to the field. I don't think he worked after that. He had some ice on it, and needless to say, he's going to be thankful to have that have Tuesday off there. So was I right in kind of describing how that play went down?
It's like you were right there next to me, Dave. That's exactly what happened. Underthrown deep ball from Ben. Burns went up for it, tipped it. Moncrief put his hand up. Somewhere it probably got jammed. Either the football hit it or some sort of collision. Kelly picked it. He didn't participate in the final team session, but he did kind of hang out around after practice and caught some passes from Juju with just his right hand, not the injured left hand. But yeah, everyone's got those Torrey Holt-looking fingers at practice, apparently, right now. You ever see that photo of Torrey Holt?
Absolutely. That and the Brian Baldinger. Have you seen that crooked pinky that goes on? I tried to show that one to my wife the other night when he was on. She didn't want no part of it. So
I don't blame her.
But all right. In addition to Moncrief, obviously we already talked about Sean Davis, the other player with the dislocated finger. He did not work today. It'll be interesting to see if he comes back after this break. Also not practicing T.J. Watt. He remains on active PUP with a hamstring injury. Johnny Holton, wide receiver, with a hamstring injury still. That's a couple of days for him now. And Alexander Myers, nobody has even asked Mike Tomlin about him either. yet not that it's a big deal, not that he's a big-time player or anything, but this was actually I believe, didn't I tell you that this was the one that received the largest signing bonus of the undrafted class
I think so.
this year, and he's yet to practice a lick. So something happened in between the run test and that first practice there. Maybe he tightened up, and maybe he's dealing with a hamstring as well too. But fact of the matter is, you haven't seen him yet. Given a veteran day off today was Ramon Foster, and I pretty much called that one yesterday, and that wasn't hard to do based on what Mike Tomlin said after yesterday's practice. He's going to rotate through these veteran players here, and I guess even though he wasn't technically held out today, it sounds like Joe Hayden had a lighter than usual practice today as well too. So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, those are the guys that were out and returning to practice after given a day off on Sunday, where of course Ben Roethlisberger, Marquise Pouncey, and Mark Barron.
Yep, you got the whole list there. Yeah, Hayden still got some work. He wasn't bad, but kind of like Hayward and Connor yesterday, just kind of got limited work really to give Artie Burns and some other guys, Herb Waters, for example, some more reps. So I think they're in a pretty good place health-wise, just the finger injuries to Moncrief and Sean Davis.
Yeah, I guess we should technically be thankful that's all they are. I'm sure it hurts like hell, but that definitely seems to be the popular type injury. That and the hamstring, of course, the soft tissue type injuries right now as well too. All right, let's get started. With Ramon Foster out, we had a little bit of surprise, a little bit of shakeup as far as the offensive lines went today.
They did. I thought that, B.J. Finney would just jump into left guard, but that's not the case. They ended up going with Matt Filer, moving from right tackle to left guard, and then Shaquille McCord for going from second-team right tackle to first-team right tackle. So Filer, guard capable. They probably want to get him some work there, and then just see Okorafor run with the ones and also give guys like Zach Banner more reps. He ran second and third-team right tackle. So a little surprising, but makes sense, and I think just an opportunity to watch some of those guys work in new positions and in new places.
Sign me up to see some Matt Filer at left guard during the preseason. I doubt we're going to see it. Mm-hmm. If I was betting, I would bet that we're probably not going to see too terribly much of it. Maybe we will. I don't know. But I would like to kind of see that. I mean, I understand.
You might, because Foster and Pouncey, they're not going to work a whole lot, you don't think?
No, they probably won't. And, I mean, if you're going to give Finney some time at center, who's going to be your first-team left guard, right?
It'd be either Patrick Morris, and I'd probably prefer Matt Filer. And let Okorafor get those reps, too.
Oh, that's true, too. Well, hopefully I get my wish there. Sign me up for that. Good to see them shift some things around. I'm assuming Hawkins is remaining at left tackle the whole time. He hasn't they're going to have to move him inside, aren't they?
I don't know about that. I want to see him in a game, but he's only been second-team left tackle. Again, no one's really moved around too much aside from just kind of the day off stuff, but they haven't made their big shift, which probably will happen maybe after the off day, but maybe a little bit longer than that.
All right, so no real changes on kind of on the later versions of the line there?
No, I think it's all been the same, but like I said, Banner was just getting second and third team reps, which is good for him because third team tackle, you're only getting so many snaps, so to run second team for a day is going to help his body of work.
All right, did anything stick out with that group today?
Gerald Hawkins has his hands full. If it's not Ola Dene, it's Tuzar Skipper. So some back and forth there. I thought Banner had a good day. I thought he did well overall against Sutton Smith. Did lose one rep, but just that size and, can move a little bit for how big he is and can be able to seal guys when they try to go inside. If they try to run the arc and he's able to have good hand use and leverage, he can seal guys and steer them upfield. Garrett Brumfield kind of been disappointing these first couple of days. Again, struggled in O-line, D-line, just lacking some of the length. I think some of the lateral mobility. Our issues with him, so I thought Brumfield was a sleeper, but it's been a rough start for him.
Yeah, it's not sounding great so far with your reports on him. Johnson, obviously, probably the premier of the undrafted of those offensive linemen. You haven't talked too much about who is it, Prince?
Damian Prince, yeah, he's been third-team left tackle. Again, some power in his punch, some strength to anchor, a big guy. I think he was actually a big-time recruit coming out of Maryland, if I'm not mistaken, but hasn't gotten a lot of reps because he is third-team left tackle, and I don't know how well he's going to function at left tackle because he didn't even play that in college, and I don't know if it's going to be a turnaround. Usually right tackles in college don't become left tackles in the NFL.
The little bit that Morris has worked at guard, what have you thought?
I like the fight that he has, but because he's a smaller guy, he's like 300 pounds, there's not a lot of length. I just worry about some of the leverage issues that he has because he's always late getting into the chest because he's always at that length disadvantage. So he kind of gets overpowered without leverage in that sense of it. Haven't been particularly impressed by him.
So Doug Legursky at guard kind of type?
Yeah, that's a good comp. Like there was one run play today where there one I don't know exactly if it was a power or zone to the right, but Levon Hook just kind of has his arm out and just buries Morris. Morris has been on the ground a lot, which is not where you want to be as an offensive lineman.
Do you think he's going to stick around again as maybe that practice squad? I mean, who are they going to have as that third center on the practice squad?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure. There's a lot of talent there, so it's kind of hard to really figure out who's going to make it and not. I mean, you can have Gray. I know he's not a center, but you got Derwin Gray. You got Zach Banner, Fred Johnson, if he doesn't make the 53. Those are all practice squad worthy players, so I know that you're asking the question about the center. I'm not sure, but just in terms of talent, I don't think Morris would be on my list right now.
Interesting. Okay, let's
go.
But
it's early.
Wait. And we always got to caution that. I mean, it's easy to hot take this thing to death, right? I mean, especially when you're following along on Twitter and whatnot. I mean, try to take it. Look, it's beautiful that we have, various kind of play-by-play, if you will, but it's also dangerous at the same time, especially if you're not able to sit there and watch it. So and that's why we try to have, obviously we're not going to have 15 of these shows, but we're going to have pretty damn close to it, maybe 12 to 13 of them throughout the thing, and really, wrap it all up in the bow along with the tape from the preseason games there. So, we discuss it. We try to not draw any hard conclusions on it, especially not this early. Now, obviously some of these back end guys are just not going to make it, and but some of the other guys that are battling, we'll have a chance, and you never know how injuries are gonna take shape on this thing as well. All right, quarterback position, what is happening?
Quieter today. I thought maybe a poor performance across the board. There were several interceptions, several almost interceptions. Ben threw his first pick. Hodges, I think, threw his first pick too.
Ben wants you to know that was a free play.
Yeah, it felt purposely underthrown almost just to see if they could go up and get it. Ben always hits a free play though, so I don't know about him. I'm not, again, there was up and down. Rudolph had one really nice throw to Deontay Spencer on a curl left side between a couple defenders. I didn't think anyone was terrible. I just thought overall it probably wasn't the best day and just kind of sloppy with, both receiver and quarterback overall, not their best performance.
Putting balls on the ground or no?
The receivers dropping it, you mean?
Center exchange and all.
No, those have been really clean. I give them credit there. I'm trying to think if there was one ball on the ground today or not on a handoff or something. I don't think so. I think those have been pretty good. The ball security across the board has been excellent. I don't think a running back or any player has fumbled once in the first 4 days. So, and the defense tries to rip it out. It's not that they're not trying. So I think the ball security's been good, but just throws that are off target, some of the interceptions, some of those things that happened in practice today. Just not the cleanest effort, I think, from the quarterbacks across the board.
There's no reason to discuss Ben in these shows, really. Right. I mean, he is what he is. No reason to discuss that. But have you been disappointed overall? Have you seen kind of what you thought you'd see? What's your overall view on Dobbs and Rudolph with 4 days down now?
Well, again, I don't think Dobbs was terrible today. Again, I've been a little disappointed with Dobbs. Just he's scattershot. I mean, he can make some big plays. He's got good mobility. He can, get outside the pocket and make throws on the run. Probably better than what Rudolph can right now. But just some of the in-the-pocket accuracy, I think, has been his issue. Rudolph has not been spectacular, but like I said, I think he's been better. Ben's been fine. He looks in good shape. I know we say that every single year, but I just think he looks really good. And then Hodges, I think, is better than your typical number 4 quarterback.
Interesting. All right, running backs.
Like I said, just globally, I think the ball security's been excellent. We kind of forget about that sometimes, but that's such a critical element, especially for young guys and new faces and rookies and all that. You got to take care of the football. I think that's been clean. Very few drops in the passing game. No fumbles that I can remember right now. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. Benny Snell has shown a well-rounded game throughout the first 4 days. His hands, his protection, the burst he has to win the edge, some of the power to break out of tackles. He ran away from Hargrave today, stepped out of the tackle, I should say, then ran away from Vince Williams for a nice 12-yard gain on the left side. So nice start with him. Malik Williams, his pass protection and backs on backers was poor, but the guy's a good athlete. We saw the hurdle over Herb Waters. He had a juke move, I think, today. The guy can scoot a little bit for being a bigger body type, and just someone that has some lateral quickness and some burst. And then, again, I'm not going to get too worried about it, but pretty quiet for Jalen Samuels. Not a whole lot. I know, he's supposed to get faster, drop some weight. Maybe he did, but I haven't quite seen that yet. Has gotten split out as a receiver, but done very little there. Not bad. I'm not saying that this is an outright criticism, but just been kind of quiet for Jalen Samuels.
How much tackling are they letting him do?
For the first team session, so the one after 7 shots, they usually go full contact. For the rest of it, it's generally thud tackling. Occasionally somebody will take someone to the ground, but it's mainly that first full team session where they have full contact the last 2 days with the pads on.
All right, the other question I was going to ask you concerning Benny Snell, you obviously were kind of hot on him way back, probably during the pre-draft process. I've obviously watched a ton of him since the draft has taken place, but I mean, you knew a lot about him really before the draft even took place. What are you seeing anything that you didn't think you'd see out of Benny Snell 4 days into camp, based on what you remember seeing during the pre-draft process?
I would point to 2 things. One are the hands, because we just didn't know about it. It wasn't that they were bad. What do you have, 20 career receptions at Kentucky? So I think he's got good hands, soft hands, catches away from his body. Nothing spectacular or super difficult, but he's doing his job. And then, you always wonder about those guys that are bigger, the burst, can they get away from guys in the NFL? And so far, I think Snell has been able to. I think he's got a little more pop and burst to turn the corner and get the edge, maybe than what I thought or questioned, at least. So those 2 things have been positive for him.
And remember, he's not a big play guy.
No, but again, he shows more burst to turn, instead of going to the corner and only getting a yard, he might get 5 out of it. I mean, that's he's not going to go for 50, but he's going to get you those medium gains.
Okay. All right. Wide receiver.
David's so funny. I was thinking about your scouting report on Deontay Johnson when I was watching him go through the punt return line, and there's some bobbles. He's got to work on that a little bit. He dropped one, bobbled the other, and this is just open air punt return stuff where everyone should catch it cleanly. There shouldn't be an issue. Again, I'm not killing the guy, but I know that receivers drop passes, and you kind of let some of those go. But in the punt return line, there can't be a bobble. I mean, you can't have any of that. You got to be perfect in those situations to have that trust. And he did have a drop somewhere, I think, in some of the on-air opening drills. So hands are an issue for him. I think focus is what he's got to really key in on. But when the ball's in his hands, this dude's quick. I mean, he can turn guys around. You can expose some of the stiffness in some of these bigger safeties and corners like Justin Lane and Cameron Kelly. He got twice a day. This guy plays faster and quicker with more energy and explosiveness than his combine numbers and all that would suggest.
Look, and we talked yesterday. I mean, his get off is great, so we're done talking about that. He also, are you seeing him come back to the ball well?
That's something that Daryl Drake, the receivers coach, definitely preaches. I don't know how many chances he's really had for that. Even on some of the curls, the ball gets on him pretty quickly, but it's something that Drake is always preaching, the one drill today. Move, get downhill, don't slow up through the ball. So I think it's just something the whole group's done okay.
He's not drifting at the top of his routes or anything. I didn't see a lot of that in his college tape.
No, his routes are really crisp. He's running a 10-yard out. He's running a 10-yard out. He's not rounding that thing off or getting too high out of his break. I mean, this guy runs crisp routes.
All right, good. And the other thing that's really stuck out on tape with him in certain games was him losing his damn footing. I don't know if it was just not having the right cleats for the right surface or what. Are you seeing him okay keeping his feet throughout for most of the out and routes and all like that? There were tons of times where he'd slip or just lose his footing.
Yeah, he's been good. I think the footing across the board's been good, so he found the right pair of cleats or whatever, and that hasn't been an issue. So as long as they stay away from that Dayton field that the Bengals were practicing on, I think they'll be okay. That was pretty bad.
All right, James Washington, is he looking like he's kind of moving along in that second year now?
I mean, I'm sure if you're Randy Fichtner, if you're Ben or Daryl Drake as coach, you can probably really see that difference year 1 to year 2. I don't doubt that for a second. I don't want to say it's drastically different, than where he was at last year. Now, he did have a slow start to camp last year and really picked things up as it went along, so we'll see if he does that again. It's been up and down. I mean, it's been okay. I'm not going to be too negative or too positive on it. He's made some big plays. There's some plays that he probably wishes he could have had back. I think it's been a fine start for James Washington.
All right, one other thing about the wide receivers specifically. Are you seeing in like the rookies compared to, and I'm going to say even experienced guys, because Spencer is one of those as well too. He's been through his share of training camps and working. Towards the end of practice, and say for example the end of this fourth day, are you seeing guys kind of, it getting to them?
I know Tomlin made a comment about that today, saying the guys kind of waned. I'm not sure specifically what he meant by that. Like I said, I thought today was maybe a little sloppier than the others, so I guess the short answer would be yes, but I'd probably have to want to go through my notes again. Sometimes I get so much in the weeds, I do kind of miss some of the bigger picture stuff, just on a few things like that. So I think yes, but I don't think it's too noticeable or overly concerning.
Is Deontay Spencer been fairly consistent throughout this thing?
Yeah, I think so. Today was a quieter day. Again, had that one nice catch that Rudolph really had a well-placed ball to him. He had a good day yesterday. I think he was showing some of the explosiveness, ability to win vertical, running some decent routes over the middle, making some tougher contested catches. So I do like to see that because I know he's fast. I know he can win in the open field. I kind of want to see him work in space and be technical and finish the play. So I think he's shown that. And obviously he's going to get a long look in the return game as well.
I think you got some positive news for me today about the tight ends today.
Yeah, they perked up a little bit. A couple guys, really. I thought Trevor Wood, the rookie undrafted free agent from Texas A&M by way of Arizona, had a good day. Had a touchdown in 7 shots. Then had another one. It was open. I mean, he was wide open on catching the ball later in practice, but just ran over Marcus Allen, kind of finished that. So good day from him. Christian Scotland Williamson, Tomlin seemed to praise during practice and then commented after practice for him. So that was good. Grimble had a nice catch. I thought Grimble kind of popped in terms of a receiver for the first time. Had a nice catch, kind of plucking it off Tyler Medikevich. So, yeah, good day overall for the tight ends.
Here's what Mike Tomlin had to say about Christian Scotland Williamson. Much like the second-year guys we've been talking about, this is his second training camp with us, and you see a different level of preparedness, not only in terms of understanding of the game of football, but the conditioning relative to his position. He's much more prepared, and I think it's reasonable to expect a jump in performance. I know that we've seen a significant jump in performance to this point, but he'll have many more opportunities to continue to prove that.
Yeah, no, I know those were kind of coming on the heels of other, guys that were asking about, I think James Washington and Samuels about, second-year jumps, so I think Tomlin kind of lumped that in. But you can definitely see improvement. And like I said before, I think you'll find out really quickly within, I believe, the first 4 practices, and here we are, if there's improvement. And, yeah, there definitely has been. He's better on the sleds. He's a little more active and involved. As a receiver, though Mark Barron planted him today with a big hit. I don't know if Scotland Williamson was expecting it or not, but yeah, there's been improvement there. So and he's going to be able to be exempt for this year if he's kept on the practice squad, which he probably will be. So I think he's on the right track at least. I'll put it that way.
You think he could be the one and only practice squad guy? Maybe. I mean, if Gentry makes it.
Yeah, that's possible. Kevin Rader struggled. His hands are poor. There might be some sort of. Didn't you tell me his hand was wrapped or something? Was that you?
Seemed like that was
Kevin Rader.
Yeah.
Report or somebody reported that, but you relayed that to me. Right. But either way, he's dropped too many, so I think he's kind of really fallen behind the rest of the group. But yeah, Scotland Williamson, I think you could use him as a number 4 tight end and be on the practice squad.
Would you put Trevor Wood ahead of Radar?
Yes.
All right.
I don't know exactly how they're running at snap counts and all that, but in terms of performance, I would. And also Scotland Williamson has gotten some work with the first team, too. I saw him out there for at least 1 or 2 reps today. And again, they do mix and match. It's not something to go crazy about, but getting that work with the first team is certainly some indication of his improvement.
All right, defensive line, talk to me.
I think just overall for the group, and I meant to mention this yesterday, they're just getting their hands up in throwing lanes, and they did a really nice job with that. The D-line did the second half of last year. I think they batted only 1 pass down the first 8 weeks, and then the last 8 weeks they had like 5 or 6, and they had 2 yesterday. They're getting their hands up and throwing lanes today and disrupting passes. They didn't tip any, I don't believe, today, but they're just kind of getting in lanes. So I just kind of like that attention to detail from the group. I thought it was a quiet day overall. Winston Craig is kind of one of those backup guys that catches my eye a little bit, that has some energy and some power and some nastiness to his game that I can appreciate. So I think has an opportunity to get more reps. And then someone like Greg Gilmore looks like Greg Gilmore last year, which got him cut outright. So it's been really quiet for him.
Wow. Casey?
Casey's been fine. Had a couple good reps today going against, was it Brumfield? I'll have to check my notes. I think it was Brumfield that he took advantage of a couple times. But he's got some hand use, stout against the run. I don't know how much of an athlete he is, how much pop he's going to offer as a pass rusher. But I think he's been steady, which has kind of been his game.
Levon Hooks going to have a decent – is it really going to probably come down to, say, Levon Hooks and Bugs for 6? Is that the way you're squaring this thing up still? I mean, obviously you got a long time. I mean, the injuries can happen.
Yeah.
And heck, it might – 3 weeks from now it might be someone else on the roster, But is that the way you kind of shaping it up right now?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. They're still all kind of lumped together. I mean, Bugs has the draft pick. I think he's probably a better pass rusher. Hooks can get after it a little bit, but it's kind of more of an effort thing for Hooks than in terms of really disengaging. I don't know. I think that group still needs some time to get some more clarity, and it could still be someone outside. It could be, like you said, someone that's not even on this roster right now. So to be determined on that group.
All right, Tunchilkin talked about Tuzar Skipper, and sounds like he had a decent day today.
Yeah, some good reps on Hawkins. Just plays with power. I like his ability to convert speed to power. He's heavy-handed. He's kind of got a plan and a no-nonsense pass rush attitude. So I think there's just a lot of depth at pass rusher, whether you're talking about Sutton Smith or J.T. Jones or Tuzar Skipper, and obviously Ola Dane's really turning all the heads here. I think just top to bottom that there's a lot of talent. And just really excited to watch these guys work. I think the Steelers are going to get a lot of sacks this preseason defensively. I think they're going to really get after the quarterback.
I think you are right. And Anthony Chicklow, he supposedly had those bone spurs and all the size of shrimps taken out of his ankles. Are you seeing a little bit more bend or whatnot out of him? Is there anything noticeable? I mean, look, this is a guy that we talked for the first couple of years. Oh man, he's going to tear up training camp and then then really kind of, fart noise.
I think it's been about the same. I really couldn't tell you. If I didn't know about the whole bone spurs thing, I probably wouldn't have been able to notice that kind of difference. Maybe if I really combed through his tape last year, I could pick that up. But I mean, he always has good camps, like you just said. He's a variety pass rusher. He can win in different ways. He can counter. He does a good job reading the tackle set and making his adjustment off of that. So he always does well in these settings. He's high energy, good technique kind of guy. So I think it's all been positive for him. But I think we're basically seeing his ceiling of a 3 to 4 sack player if he's a number 3 rotational guy. Ola Dane, I'm pretty sure, is going to be a better pass rusher than Anthony Chicklow.
And how I guess it's only a question now, maybe hopefully, or at least we think, how long until Ola passes up Anthony Chicklow?
Yeah, and that was my hope, even in the offseason, because I think Adene being the number 4 and not getting a lot of snaps and playing special teams isn't going to be the best thing for him. I'd rather him be the number 3 and Chick be the number 4, although I will say Danny Smith, and I should have put this in my notes, I think I forgot to, called out Adene for one nice rep in the special team sessions today, so he might be making some progress there.
Are they switching Ola different sides, or is he just primarily on the right side?
100% on the right. Have not seen anything on the left yet.
You think
this year at least.
You think we're going to start seeing some of that switch over to the other side, or you think they're going to keep them side specific right now?
They could flip guys. Obviously, Chick can play either spot. They may do that like the way they do the offensive lineman, where they get a weekend and get you in one spot, then they'll work you somewhere else. I know Adene's played both sides before. He probably is better on the right side. But if he's going to be the number 3, then you got to work both positions. So they probably will.
All right, inside linebacker. Can you hear Bush?
He's been all right. He's been around the ball, I think, in some of the run sessions, which has been nice. I don't have a whole lot on him. I think he's been out there in almost all the dime packages, though. I kind of mentioned that the other day, and I keep seeing it out there. Every time they go with 6 TBs, it's always 55 out there. So take that for whatever it's worth. I thought Ulysses Goodwood III, though, had a good practice today, flying around the football, good athleticism. There was one play where I think it was Malik Williams made a move and cut, and Gilbert came in from the backside and cleaned it up. So just kind of showing some of that athleticism that helped get him drafted. And then one depth chart move, at least it appears to be, Robert Spillane had a good practice on Sunday, getting my days mixed up, on Sunday, and then he moved up to second team inside linebacker opposite Matakevich. That bumped T. Gray Scales back to the third team, so Spillane making a little bit of noise.
All right, good news there. All right, cornerbacks, Artie having a nice camp, ain't he?
Already having a nice camp. Yes, he is. But again, always has good camps. I mean, these things do not shock me. I said that before camp started. Already's going to have a good camp, and he has. Brian Allen's been quieter. The first day, I think, was his best, and from there, it's gone a little downhill. And then Cam Sutton's always been around the football. Dropped a pick today, but he's just a guy that always seems to be wherever the ball is. So I think his coverage has improved, gotten some work in dime, played slot, played outside corner, wears a lot of hats, and doing pretty well right now.
All right. Any of those other younger? I mean, really, there's not much. Justin Lane, give us an update on Justin Lane.
I like his willingness as a tackler. I think there's 1-2 in desire and ability to get guys down too. Had a tackle for loss yesterday. Had some wrap-up tackles today. I think the defensive back or the cornerback group in general is a 1-2 group in terms of run defense and tackling and sticking their nose in the fan, or face in the fan, excuse me. So that's been good. Haven't seen a whole lot in coverage. I'm trying to think. He had one play in 7-on-7s the other day where he blanketed the receiver. I think it was Tevin Jones, but 13 corner, just trying to fight for reps, trying to I see some of that stiffness, that play where Deontay Johnson caught a pass left side, he juked Lane out. I mean, it wasn't like crossover, but it was Lane having to flip and was slow to recover. So I do see some of that stiffness in Lane's game that I kind of saw in his Michigan State tape.
All right, safety with Sean Davis out. It's the Cameron Kelly show, right?
Yep, had a pick today. Now, to be fair, already made the better play than Kelly. Kelly just picked it off a tip drill. I mean, I'm glad he caught the football, but, Kelly did have the interception today. Just worry about some of the athletic profile. Is he rangy enough to play deep center field? That we'll see, but there's definitely ball skills there that he's putting to use whenever given the opportunity. PJ Locke had a breakup today, so nice job for him. Kind of his first time he's really shown up on my notes in a positive way. And then Marcus Allen with a good read and pick of Devlin Hodges today. So secondary picking off a lot of passes, but they picked off 20 of these in camp last year, and we know how that story turned out. So I'm not going to go, too crazy over that.
Right. Are you seeing out of Marcus Allen what you would hope to, or are you a little disappointed with how he's being used and maybe what you're seeing?
A little more of the latter. I thought there'd be some pop and impact as a run defender. Haven't quite seen that yet. Not saying he's doing a bad job, but you thought you would hear one of the Marcus Allen hits. Hasn't happened yet. And then I thought he's been getting work in dime as a backup situation, but it's been Sutton really being the first guy in that role. And I really thought that Allen was going to be that guy, and he still could be. I think in some ways he fits better than Cam Sutton. Depends on the situation. But I thought he would be used more prominently in dime packages than maybe he is right now.
So you're thinking that's going to be Sutton's Cameron Sutton then?
That's how it's looking right now. And that tells me that they're only going to use dime the way they used it prior to last year, like 3rd and 6+ obvious pass situations. You can't have Cam Sutton on 1st and 10 in dime. You're going to be a liability in the run game. So if they go back to using dime in kind of quote-unquote conventional situations, and that makes sense considering the talented inside linebacker, they want to have 2 inside linebackers on the field as much as possible, then I could see that working well with Sutton. So it depends on the situation, but that seems to be the way that it's going currently.
All right, and the backup, who is the backup strong then, safety?
Still Marcus Allen.
Okay,
yep, second team. Yep.
So Jordan Dangerfield kind of coming in later then, huh?
Well, he'd been running 3rd-team free safety before Davis got hurt. I mean, he's up to 2nd team now that Kelly got elevated. So that's been the pairing. But, Dangerfield had gotten shuffled back a little bit, and that's why I'm certainly worried about his roster spot. We knew it was not a lock coming into this thing, but now that Kelly's playing well, Tomlin's praising him, Dangerfield getting moved back. I mean, those things are concerning for Jordan Dangerfield fans out there.
All it's going to take is him knocking somebody's block off and knocking that football loose for Danny Smith one time.
This dude, Medikevich stood up one of the backs today, I think Edmonds, and Dangerfield just leapfrogs on top of both of them, just kind of crowd surfing them. I mean, he that's his game, but where he's running right now is still some cause for concern.
So you tell me the one time I don't bet against Dangerfield, then he's not going to get any respect, right?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, injuries can certainly impact this group, and I doubt they're all going to get out healthy, so long ways to go.
All right, Danny Smith doing some yelling. What's going on with special teams overall?
Oh, he's doing some yelling, some bubblegum chewing, the whole shebang for him. But, I mean, it's not just him. There's a lot of coaches that get involved in special team sessions right now. Don't know all their faces, but, Danny Smith is doing Danny Smith-like things, as Tomlin might say.
All right, what's really stuck out to you through these 4 days? I mean, give me kind of and we'll talk a little bit on the morning podcast. I'm gonna make you get up early and talk to me for another hour and a half on the on the Tuesday morning podcast, being as how you don't have to go to Latrobe. But kind of give me some overarching thoughts at the end of these 4 days of some things maybe you didn't expect to see, and maybe that you did expect to see that you aren't seeing, and vice versa, those kind of things?
Yeah, it's a good question. I might have an article in the morning for Tuesday morning that help me kind of get my thoughts together just some more. I think that the receivers all have talent. They've all shown moments. I think the pass rushers have talent. They've all, again, had their moments. I think, again, it's been pretty clean in terms of the ball security and not wasting reps and all that. There's been a fair share of interceptions, but the defense has capitalized, so hats off to them. But I think it's been just clean, spirited work overall. I'm sure. Yeah, I think the receivers and outside linebackers have been. There's good depth there. There's a lot of quality competition, I think.
What's been the biggest problem? Has it been the demeanor of the team? Has there been one thing that you've come away saying, man, I didn't think, didn't I like this?
That's something I didn't expect that I turned out liking?
Or kind of anything ultra surprising, I guess.
I don't know if there's been anything ultra surprising. Maybe some of the backup running backs having some more burst than what I expected. Guys like Malik Williams and Ralph Webb, some bigger backs. I didn't know how they would move well in space. I thought they did have done pretty well so far. I wish I could give you a great answer. Maybe if you let me chew on it, maybe I can get you in the morning on that. But I just think it's been a good first 4 days of practice.
All right, so Mike Hilton's not getting phased out or anything. He's running where he's supposed to be in the slot, and you mentioned Cameron Sutton and mostly into dime there. Cameron Kelly, obviously, I think that's the biggest revelation. One of the biggest revelations. Here's kind of and I'm just going off of notes, your notes and a few other notes floating around out there. Juju is gone to another level of Juju. Is that fair?
I think it's been more of the same, but it's been a very high level of Juju. So yeah.
Okay. Look, Ola is set to explode. I think that's an observation, and kind of something I was hoping for ahead of time. Joe Hayden's going to get a contract extension. I think that's fair. Mike Hilton's not going to get a contract extension here. Cameron Kelly is a guy now that I think that really a legitimate shot at the 53-man roster. And the other thing I think I had on my list is Dobbs is slipping.
Yeah, I think that's all fair across the board. Hilton did have a nice day. He's been around the ball a lot, too. Had a tip pass that Sutton picked yesterday. Had a breakup in 7 shots on one of those tunnel screens for Juju. So, Hilton's been running fine and should be your starting nickel corner in 2019.
All right, 35 minutes in. Tell the people about Len Testa and touring plans.
Yeah, LenTestaTouringPlans.com. I've been our sponsor now for several years. Great group of guys. Had a really good relationship with them. If you're planning a trip to Disney, which I'm sure a lot of people do in the wintertime, you want to go through them to kind of help you figure out with your budget and how to have the best experience possible, because while Disney is, as they say, the happiest place on earth, it can also be one of the most stressful places on earth. So they'll help you relieve some of that stress and get you squared away.
All right, and we used to do this every night. Now we're not, but I'm going to do it every 4 or 5 days on you now. Give me a winner on the offensive side of football through 4 days and a winner on the defensive side of football after these first 4 days.
Well, I'll start with the defense because that's a whole lot easier than maybe the offense with a day. I think that's what almost the universal answer there. For the offense, might be a little bit trickier. Because, there's been some good, certainly from a lot of these guys. Deontay Johnson's shown some good. Deontay Spencer's shown some good. I would say I'll give you one mainstream answer and then one quieter, more obscure answer. I think Dante Moncrief, I think he's been good, but just getting those reps, showing a good chemistry with Ben, putting in that work, I think is positive for him. So I think, again, health, assuming he stays healthy, he'll have, a prominent role. And then I think Fred Johnson's been impressive as a backup lineman. I think just like his body type, I like his strength. I like how he's able to sink in his hips and play with a good foundation, not double over, really look silly. So I think, I think Fred Johnson's a guy that could be one of those in a long line of undrafted free agent linemen that stick on the 53.
All right, we're going to see him primarily at right guard, right?
Yes, you will.
All right, great. All right, good stuff, Alex. Good 4 days. Get a little bit of rest here. You and I will be back at it in the morning time with a full podcast. We'll talk about other news and notes and maybe talk a little bit more about what's going on in training camp. And in the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at Steelers Depot. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Alex_Kozora. How about a shout out for Tim Rice?
Tim's done an awesome job. He got a field pass today. Just won it in one of those game raffles that they have at Steelers training camp. He's done some awesome photographs. So if you haven't given him a shout and thanked him for his work, it's been super valuable. Be sure to do so. What's his Twitter? I want to make sure I get it
it's
right for him.
Is it Timothy Rice? Hold on a minute here.
Yeah, Tim O.T. Rice. I'll give him a shout. Follow him if you haven't. He does great work. He does a lot of photography, not only for us, but also back home. He shoots some sporting events and stuff like that. So really quality work and a very valuable member of the site.
I think we have 167 photos up from him today in the Steelers 2019 training camp pictures from Monday that you'll see on SteelersDepot.com. Okay, as I said, follow all of us on Twitter. You can email the show, theterriblepodcast@gmail.com. If you like what we do and got a few more donations, thank you. We love you. We love you for that. If you want to donate to the cause, look, $25 for a year. Really, if everybody gave $25, that it comes to the site or listens to the podcast in a year's time, that would be fantastic. And kind of that's what we kind of shoot for. Obviously, you're not obligated to do that, but if you want to do that, go to SteelersDepot.com, hit that donate button, upper right navigational bar. We certainly would appreciate it. And once again, thanks to you fine people who have and continue to donate to the cause as well too. In the meantime, and like I said, Alex and I will be back on Tuesday morning. As always, thanks for listening to the Terrible Podcast with Dave and Alex.